Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kalicharan and I'm from Chatsworth, a suburb in Durban, South Africa. Shout out to my favorite YouTubers, Nikki Tutorials, Peter Laws from Into the Fog, and Charlotte Dubre. Charlotte, Mike, I want to wish you too, from the bottom of my heart, many happy years of marital bliss. Peace, love, prosperity to you too, beautiful souls. These YouTubers are my inspiration, my mentors, I should say, my inspiration for finally doing this channel. It's been a long time in my mind, thoughts. Whenever I watch the YouTube videos, I think, hey, I can do that too. So I decided, you know what, let's just give it a try and let's see how it goes. So as a child, I've been what most people would call sensitive, intuitive. I've had a number of experiences with the paranormal. So I can safely say that I've seen them, I've heard them, and I've felt them. Them meaning the spirits, the spirit world, ghost entities. So this is like a very touchy subject. Not many people believe in the spirit realm. Now, personally for me, and the reason why I decided to start this channel is for the simple fact that literally we are called crazy. People that experience this otherworldly events, paranormal, supernatural, are considered not normal themselves. And we are. I think we are special. So over the years, all my experiences have led me to be a firm believer in the supernatural, in the paranormal. And so that's basically my reason for starting this channel, because I would love for you guys all over the world to give me your stories. Send me your stories. I have my email at the bottom. It's kalicharankamni@gmail.com. So it's KalicharanKamni@gmail.com. So it's just kalicharankamni@gmail.com. Send me your stories and let me know where you're from. And if you want to remain anonymous, you can just put there that you wished. Let me know that you wish to remain anonymous. Otherwise, leave me your name and your area. And and then maybe we'll figure out eventually, we'll try and do like a sort of a just to get an idea, like people maybe from the similar areas having experiences with the same entity or same type of paranormal experience. That'll be awesome to find out, you know, just to sort of give us a little bit more how can I say, like, I won't, okay, maybe authenticity, because personally for me, I know what I experienced, I know it's true. So and even if you would like to send me stories from a third party, like somebody told you a story that you heard somewhere along the line, you can also let me know. So it's actually quite awesome. I just said, you know, it'll be so amazing to get stories from all over the world, people giving their giving us an idea of their experiences, so we can, you know, just have a look see and see what are the maybe common factors in all these experiences. So as I am from Chatsworth, I'm sure everyone, especially with the movie coming out, the release of the movie, The Legend of Highway Sheila. So that is our urban legend growing up in Chatsworth. Personally, I've not had any personal experiences like seeing or Highway Sheila myself. I think it's part of that is also because growing up we avoided using the highway too late at night. As a female also, we were restricted, quite restricted. So back in the day, we weren't allowed to to go out at night, jolling. Yeah, jolling. Yeah, so the guys went out a lot. So many of you guys, if you've had experiences, if you've been out clubbing, etc., returning home from Durban Central late at night from the clubs, etc., and yeah, if you did have or see any experience, please let me know, and we'll see if there's any other stories. So personally, growing up, the famous version of the story is where a gentleman had given Sheila a lift, picked up this young lady on the highway and took her to her home. My version of the story, it was Unit 7, dropped her off, and she was cold, so he borrowed her his jacket, and the next day when he stopped at the same residence to go and get his jacket, the elderly lady who answered Sheila's mom said that no, it can't be, because you know, she passed away many years ago, and I believe she took him to the grave, and at the grave they found the jacket hanging over the grave, like tombstone on the grave itself. His jacket was there. So yeah, that's one of the stories we heard growing up. And from my private life, personally, my mom, my aunts, my granny, in fact it was my granny who told me the story, and my mom and aunts verified it. My grandfather, many years, I'm talking now like about 60 plus, 60, 65, 60 years plus, was traveling home. So my Nana, that's my mom's dad, sorry, I've never met him. He passed way before any of us were born. My mom was very young when her dad passed as well. So this was a story going back then. So my granny had told me that apparently he was returning home with a friend of his late at night, and there was a lady. They saw a lady hitching for a lift, hitchhiking, and the friend wanted to stop and said, you know, it's scary. I mean, like a lady out here so late, you know, we should maybe help. And then my grandfather apparently just said to him, no, just keep driving. And yeah, and he spoke in Hindi, and he said to him, bye, wo to highway Sheila hai. So this guy freaked out and floored it. He drove so fast out of there, and then they returned home. And then if you look at the context of the era, the time, I'm talking now 60 plus years ago, it wasn't a common thing to see a woman on a freeway or a highway late at night, you know. So I don't know, it's possible it could have been somebody, unfortunately, for whatever reason, that happened to be on the road at that time. But you know, my grandfather, hearing these stories, when he saw this lady out in the middle of nowhere, he just told his friend to just go and don't, because that's highway Sheila. And then you, okay, so you can leave comments. Maybe it could have just been another innocent lady needing a lift, whatever personal circumstances, or it could have been somebody, maybe, you never know, back in the day, it could have been a setup for a robbery. We don't know. But yeah, that's the story my granny did tell me. And yeah, so it's actually quite fun. As a child, my mom said I always had imaginary friends. So that's like, as we know nowadays, lots of people have come out and they've realized that sometimes imaginary friends are not just imaginary, it's also real. And it's possible because, to my recollection, from what I remember, I always assume, for me, it was always that I was playing with the neighbor or the tenants. We always had a lot of tenants at both my maternal and paternal grandparents' houses. We had tenants, so there were always children. There was always kids, you know, in the yard. And I always remember, like, talking. I don't recall talking to myself, honestly. I don't recall. I recall always having a playmate. I always had somebody to play with. And My mom says no, but I used to talk to myself often. I used to also look in the mirror and talk to myself in the mirror. And I'll be sitting in the bedroom or in the lounge or wherever, even doing homework sometimes, and I'll be having like a good conversation with somebody that's with me, explaining my work, you know, like normal, as if it's a friend there, and I'm talking to this friend and telling him, okay, this is the homework I've got, this is what I'm doing. So yeah, it's pretty scary when you think about it, but the surprising part was I was never scared. Hey, I'm going to tell you other stories as we go along. I was always the one to go to investigate. So if I saw or heard something, I'm the person that used to go there to see, now what is this, what am I seeing? I just saw like a person walking there, but there's like nobody else in the house, or my siblings are in the room, my parents are in the room, but yeah, I'm seeing this shadow. And then I've come to find out, well, not now, a few years ago, watching all these videos, that it's shadow people, you know. And I've always seen shadow people in the peripheral vision. I used to see them, and often like I'll turn and I literally saw a person walking, you know, and then I'll be like, but hold on now, who's this? Then I'll call out like dad, mom, and then I'll go and see now, okay, who was this, you know, who's there? And it was nobody. And surprisingly, I was never afraid. For some reason, I was always just fascinated. For me, it was, no, I need to investigate, I need to see what's going on. And I used to go follow. If I saw something, I used to follow to go and see who just walked past. And often it walked like past the lounge into the study or into the kitchen, and when you go through there's nobody there. So you know, the typical where you go and look and there's no one there. So I've had all this experiences, so I can relate to a lot of these videos that come out about the paranormal. I can relate to a lot of them because from personal experience, because I've seen that. Like I've said, I've seen, I've heard, I've felt cold spots. I've heard voices. I've heard, now they talk about mimics. Now recently I heard about this, where you hear like your mom calling you, dad calling you, and I'll be, yeah ma, and then mom will say, no, I didn't call you. Or yeah, dad, and no, I didn't call you. My siblings, they didn't call me. And then sometimes, I suppose the scariest ones would have been like where I was alone and I heard somebody calling me, and then I go to answer, but then I realize, hold on, but there's no one at home, I'm alone. At that time, my parents had a business, so often my younger siblings used to be with them at the supermarket. So yeah, and then, so for my earliest memory, the earliest memory I have of a paranormal experience was when I was like about 4 or 5 years old. So my younger sister, the one after me, so we are 4, 3 girls and a boy, and I'm the firstborn, the boy is the youngest, so I'm first. So I was about 4 or 5, then my sister after me was about 2 or 3. And it was at my grandfather's funeral, and I remember I was walking around with her, and then the next thing I heard my grandfather say, hold her. And just reflex, I went to grab my sister. At the same time she tripped. So when she tripped, I was there already holding, you know, my hands out, so I caught her. And it was so amazing because I caught her, and when I caught her, I looked up. And when I looked up, I looked at my granddad, and he had this smile. So this is my dad's dad, right? He had this broad smile on his face, and he just smiled at me. And then I smiled at him, and I went back. I like focused on my sister again, like making sure she's okay. And then I scolded her, saying, "Don't run! You're going to fall." Then I looked up. Then it clicked that, hold on, but Aja, now that's my dad's dad, is in the box, sleeping in the box. They said he died, so he's sleeping in the box. And to this day, and every single, and I asked my mom, and it was like, how can I say, it's something I remember with such clarity that I clearly remember thinking to myself, but how come Aja is standing there when he's supposed to be in the box. And like I said, when I looked up the second time, he wasn't there anymore. And that's when I'm like confused. That is why I looked up the second time, because like after I smiled and I focused on my sister, the thought came to me, but hold on, Adya is like in the, and you know, at that moment. And then I'm looking up, and then I'm like, but he's in the box, and he wasn't there anymore physically, like how I had seen him. So I was like, okay. And then, yeah, that's why I always say maybe they call me crazy. That's a little book I started writing on all my experiences. I don't know if anyone knows on publishing, etc. You can let me know, drop me a message in the comment. Yeah, so I've basically documented all my experiences. I've written down like a lot of experiences, and out of respect for some family members, there are some experiences I will not mention out of respect. If I do chat to cousins, etc., I'll speak to them and then maybe ask them permission to, you know, to give stories that involve them perhaps. But yeah, for the time being, I'll just stick to my personal private experiences that I've had, just so as not to offend anyone or to upset anybody. Okay, so yeah, so that's so awesome. So that's why I said, so that was my first experience. And then thereafter I had like numerous experiences my entire life through, which I'm going to be entertaining you guys on my channel with. And then yes, as I get more stories coming in, that will be even more exciting to get stories from all over, and then we can compare experiences, you know, to see for similar experiences in the same areas. That will be even more awesome. And I yeah, even I've had like experiences with my children later on in life, but as I go. So what I'll do is, I've decided now not to bombard you with too many stories in one episode. I'll do like a short clip on everyone's story, every story I get. My next story, perhaps I'll give another personal account. When we moved into this house, this is my parents' house. I'm currently living with them, and we can yeah, and then I'll give you the experiences I had as a child, 15 years old, when we moved into this place. That will be my next story. So yeah, it'll be so awesome. You guys can just send me your stories on email. Remember, my email is kalicharankamni@gmail.com. So it's KALICHARAN Kamni, KAMNI@gmail.com. Send me your stories, and I will then read out your stories. Let me know if you want to remain anonymous, and that'll be so perfect. And then we can get some feedback, and we can have fun experimenting, sharing experiences. Thank you, and have a good day further. Until next time, cheers from Ghosty.